Welcome to First Look Podcast. I'm Kayla Susie, a wedding photographer based in Greenville, South Carolina. Today we're going behind the scenes with Luna BTS, the team making wedding magic happen with flawless behind the scenes. And let's welcome Olivia and Alejandro.
Hey there, Kayla.
Hey, Kayla.
Hey, I'm so excited you guys got to come on today. Um, I want to jump right into this because I think you guys have a really unique perspective on wedding days, and let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Tell me about yourselves and how did you get started?
So, we have been in the industry for a really long time. We just love weddings. So, as cheesy as that sounds, that's kind of just like what everything boils down to. Alejandro has been a wedding photographer for a little over 12 years, I think. We've kind of lost count at this point. I just tell him he's like forever 29. And so, therefore, it all gets a little jingled. And then I've been in the industry in a lot of different ways, mostly through bridal gowns, but also through a little bit of like planning and florals. I've just kind of dabbled in a few things. So that gives us a really unique perspective on weddings, not just the day of things, but kind of the whole process of what it looks like to go through being engaged, plan a wedding. And then 3 years ago, we got to do that ourselves and got married. And so that also then like completely shifted our take on all those things as well. So yeah, and we have a dog named Pepper, so she might peek in here every once in a while. Actually, our child, so I felt like she was worth mentioning.
Yes, absolutely. Um, so I would love for you to tell me a little bit more about what do you do?
Yeah, so what we do as far as Bella Luna goes is we are behind the scenes wedding video. And so we're capturing all of the beautiful moments that happen throughout the day. We're kind of right there with the videographer and the photographer. And that's kind of where my background comes in. I've been a photographer for 12 years, done hundreds of weddings. And Olivia was mostly bridal, and I was mostly day of, and we would come home and we'd be able to talk about like the brides that we got to deal with and share stories, but we never really had a situation where we could both work together. And so we started Bella Luna, and we really enjoy being able to like capture the day and without the pressure of actually being a photographer, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, we so that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, so like I think to dive more into it, like I feel like content creation is kind of just now starting to be thrown around in the industry, specifically for weddings, like for couples. And I think I feel like there's like two camps. There's like the younger millennials and the Gen Zs that are like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. And then there's the older folks who are just like, what the heck? Why in the world do you want somebody running around with a cell phone? All for the, social medias. And so what content creation is though for a couple is that like first person view of their day. And I like to say that like we want to act as if we're a guest. Like we want to show what it was like to be there. But also some of the things that maybe nobody else saw, like maybe things like really beautiful moments that happened while she was getting ready, while he was opening up a gift that she gave him, or something that, his guys got him, or maybe are caught, and maybe they're not caught. But we're kind of that third eye, that third view. And then the thing that really sets us apart is that it's all of the content that we make is actually for social media. So it's all filmed that way and it's given back. And I feel like a very microwave type of way, which is it's back to the couple in like 22 hours. So that kind of puts it I feel like it all together.
Yeah, it was kind of birthed out of after we had gotten married about 3 years ago. We went straight into our honeymoon.
Didn't even sleep, just
Didn't even sleep. It was just
Just took off.
there like a flight at 5 a.m. We just like finished packing and like left for the airport. It was great. We loved it.
so here we are on like this high coming from the day at the airport, and we're just like scouring the social media for anything that we could post on our own pages from what just happened, because we want to share to the people that weren't able to be at our wedding, like what happened, because we just thought it was the most amazing day in the world. And there was plenty of stuff from people that had been there, but it wasn't like, of course, like curated content or like anything put together or like a recap reel or anything like that. And so it was just one of those things where it's just like, man, I wish we would have
Had like
would have something like that in between, because we had amazing video come out of that, but it took about like 4 months or so, 4 to 6 months, and that's normal.
That is normal. And from a photo perspective, I can get sneak peeks to you within 24 hours, like to a couple. But I think having those, like, the way we digest so much of like our lives is through social media, and getting to have that third person perspective of the day and it immediately be to them is really amazing.
Yeah, we would like that quick hit content, and just to ride the high and the hype that comes with the wedding and with everybody talking about it and the buzz. And so I think there was definitely a niche to fill.
Well, it's definitely new to Greenville. I have only had one wedding with a content creator, and she came from Tennessee. So I'm like so looking forward to experiencing more of it. I think you guys do an amazing job and have a really unique perspective, and I'm excited to see what you're able to provide for the couples.
We are too. Like we're really fresh at this, so I feel like we're just gonna keep like developing. But our goal is not to. I think this is kind of interesting because like I feel like this is a great platform to share this with. But like our goal is not to take over the place of a videographer. Like I say that like all the way down to my toes because I feel like we're the kind of people that we watch our wedding video probably more than most people, and so our value of it is extremely high. And so what we really like, we're kind of like right, I feel like we're just kind of like the little, like, we just want to be like right in between the photographer and the videographer, like when it comes to being able to deliver things. But on the day, we're usually like, we're trying to get that unique perspective, but our goal is not to replace them because there is room for everything. There's something so beautiful about something that is cinematic and like drama building and just a beautiful curated way to capture a very, very important day in your life.
Yeah.
But we also just want to make sure that they have a very easily shareable way to do that as well. So that's
I think like the easily shareable is like the niche part, because it's like you have to wait for so long to get your like video back from your videographer, and when you're getting these behind the scenes back and you're able to share them easily with your friends and family because you can tag them on social media and it's already filmed that way, video isn't the same.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I think that's really amazing.
It also allows you to share things in more digestible ways. Like we can do, like we recently shot a wedding and had the most amazing time with this couple, and she and her girls were just so much fun. And so like we did an entire reel on just her and her girls. And like, and the same thing goes for the guys, but like there's certain things where like with content creation, I also feel like there's an element where we can kind of like take the day as it happens and pull out the really sentimental parts, the really fun parts, the parts that, the couple really want captured if there's really specific. And we get to then say, okay, here you go. You can just share this and really like allow everyone to soak this moment in versus just not just a recap, but like versus a recap of the entire day.
Yeah, and a lot of times they don't even really. There's things that we can capture that they didn't even know that they wanted. Like we had a bride that was a only child, and she had a incredibly unique relationship with both of her parents, and it was such a beautiful thing from the outside in. And she probably, I know that she knows it was a unique thing, but we were able to capture it and make a reel specifically of just with her and her parents and their interactions. And we even sent her content that we didn't post that was just videos of their interactions because it was just so beautiful and it really was special. And so I love being able to do that. Yeah.
That just brought to mind too. I wonder if couples are more relaxed around you guys because it's the cell phone versus like when I walk into a room, I really have to warm people up to the camera and like maybe sit with them and chat or like,
Yeah.
easily, or because they're kind of camera shy to the big camera, and video is like scaled even more. So, but behind the scenes, it's yourself, like it's a cell phone video. So I feel like they might be a little bit more relaxed when you guys walk into a room.
They do. It's really funny. Like we've gotten to the point during weddings, especially receptions, where people are dancing and singing to the camera. Like I know you and I are like on the dance floor, like that's where we love to live. And so I think that's another part that really is unique about this is that we kind of just blend in with the crowd, and it's a little bit less intrusive than, video equipment. But these days videos are getting smaller too. They really do just play along with it so much easier, I feel like. And it makes for incredible content. So we love that. But it really does make everybody really, really comfortable.
Yeah, and having that smaller footprint with smaller cameras is really helpful, especially when you're kind of like entering this the wedding industry as like a new form of media. Because like a bride will come up to you, if a bride comes up to you, you always ask like, do you have your photo? Do you have your video? Like that's your main things that you get from the wedding, right? And but nobody ever asks like, are you bringing a content creator? And so when you think about it, if you have photo, video, and a content creator, that's an extra 1 to 2 people that are going to be on your wedding day capturing it. And so also being cognizant of your footprint, like you being in the way of other people, you being in the background of photographer and videographer shots, like that's another person to watch out for. So we are also really focused on being like responsible about how we interact throughout the day and interact with the people that we're working with as well.
Yeah, and super respectful. And there was actually a moment at the last wedding that we shot that you could tell that like the bride was like embarrassed by something. And I think because I don't know if it's just like our empathetic hearts or because now we're like camera in front of everybody all the time, but like I just immediately like turned around. I was like, I'm not going to shoot this. Like this is this is not like a happy moment for her, but
She doesn't want this.
yeah, she doesn't want those. Exactly. I don't
But
know.
in the same vein, I don't know if this is appropriate to talk about, but it's funny because, just the
And now might as well.
Olivia goes in. She helps. She was helping a bride use the restroom, like in her wedding dress, right?
Yeah.
And snaps a picture of it, and
It's for.
wanted that picture. There's like those moments that are like so raw and real throughout the day that like definitely are not going to go on social media, but are like kind of cute to have.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Although going to the bathroom in a 20-foot train is a feat that should be documented. But yeah, there was stuff like that. That's like, I think that that's kind of the beauty of it is that we still kind of curate the content at the end of the day, but then the couple gets the raw footage, which we know nobody does, and we know why nobody does it. And we have a disclaimer in our email. We're like, we did not create the faces. We just shot them. Okay. So like, look, that's on you. But there's also just so much realness to it that I think really balances the fact that we're doing it for social media. It's like, okay, this
is a little bit more raw and edgy and yourself when it's just like, I mean, especially with TikTok, like it's a free for all there. Instagram maybe is a little bit more curated, but like people just want to share all of the things from their wedding day. So I do like that.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. We've talked a little bit about who you serve, like the couples. Can you tell me a little bit more about your couples?
Oh, gracious. Like, it's so hard to like describe our couple because we want so much for every single person to see how they truly felt on their day. And I say that because we had an opportunity to shoot a couple recently, and they were telling me their story of how they met each other. And instead of just like, I was actively listening, but not only listening, I was actually filming them during doing this. And it's probably some of the best content that I feel like I've captured because of like, you can literally feel it. Mm-hmm. So my hope is that we are able to serve couples that are open enough emotionally to be able to fully express who they are. And I'm not going to get emotional. Also, like the love that they have in their life, and to be able to fully like encapsulate that in what we do. So I feel like our couples are people that want that view of their day. Mm-hmm. Like I want, like, yes, I love all the beautifully curated things, but I also love the true and the raw and most beautiful parts of the day. But we also don't just serve couples, so that's another thing. If I'm jumping the gun, you can tell me.
Go for it.
But that's kind of another thing that makes us unique. Like, I feel like content creators typically come from a social media marketing kind of background. And so our background is very unique in that we just got baptized in weddings and just keep going back. And so because of our experience, we know that there is a huge need for people on social media and websites to see the work that goes into the days that are created for these couples. And so our heart is also with the wedding professional who is lighting candles last minute and needs to reveal this room, this beautiful room that she's created for her couples, and doesn't have the time to fully capture it. That's the person that we also want to help. And so that's just a huge part of our heart as well. This industry has given so much to us, and so we want to give back to it in this way because we know how important capturing things on for social media is. And also it's just as important for the wedding professionals to be able to ride the high of that wedding as well. Like they can tag the couple in these pictures and things that they're able to put out there. And so it kind of does the same thing. It just kind of keeps that going, as well as gives content for future couples to see and be like, oh, wow, I really like that. Or they seem really calm whenever they're doing these things. Or, she's taking names, like whatever it is, or like a DJ that's incredible. We've done a lot of work with Sean, and we get to go to receptions and just have fun. Like, I don't know who else gets to do that, but we get to do that. Yeah. We do.
Do kind of reception.
Business is kind of twofold in that way.
Yeah. It really feels like it comes back to like the heart of the wedding for you guys too. Like when it comes to serving the couple and serving the vendors, because for me specifically, I love being able to serve couples and be there for them. Like I was just talking to my copywriter about, we were changing some language on my website, and I was like, my goal is to be there and like to get that moment and being able to serve vendors the way that you guys are, because I can only do so much with a photo, but like you're able to show what the vendor has done and can do and how the bride felt about that. And I think that's really magical.
Yeah, it's pretty cool and very unique for sure.
Yeah, we just feel so strongly that we were actually talking about this last night. Like we don't ever want to forget where we came from. And so I think that just really adds a level of depth and respect to the entire community. And some things are easier to capture than others. And it's so funny. People keep asking us about how, give us your pricing for what it would cost to come and capture this for, our client. And I'm just like, it's different for everybody. Like there's no possible way that we could put something together that would work for every single type of vendor. But like even you need behind the scenes content. Like, we need to see you dancing on the dance floor, like we need to see you.
Everybody needs content.
Wrangling, the family and the kids and all of that. And, and then like those things need to be captured. And so I don't know, like that's just, it really is the heart of what we do. Is like we just truly love this industry and what it represents and the people that help put these full events together. No small feat.
Yeah. Well, you just kind of led me right into my next question is, why do you love weddings?
Rewind, put it together. Yeah. Good.
It is a weird thing though, because I think that when you're in the events industry in general, serving people for so long, if you're not filling yourself back up, or if you're not somebody that just absolutely loves to do it, then it could get tiring and you could get jaded, and you just can't continue to do that, serve at that high level for a long time without some sort of impact on you. Olivia and I, for some reason, and we're still trying to figure it out ourselves a little bit, we just absolutely love it. We love, as cheesy as it is, we're just like, we love love, we love love, the couples that are in love, we love stories, we love doing it. Honestly, we just we love a party. We love to be in a situation that is kind of chaotic and is always changing. I mean, I was in corporate for about 12 years, sitting in a cubicle doing the same thing every single day, and this became my outlet. I was just like, I love just being able to on a weekend meet an entirely brand new family from an entirely different culture and capture their story, and play psychologist, when she's freaking out because she can't do her wedding dress.
He's very good at it.
Play MacGyver when we fix the bustle that inevitably breaks, or
bride back into a dress.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Like when it rains unexpectedly, like still coming up and thinking on the fly and coming up with some amazing photos, even though she didn't get to go out and take the ones that she was expecting, surprising her in a different way, interacting with new people, new vendors, and it's such a unique, like wedding vendors are extremely unique in the way that a lot of them are the same way. And they're all like entrepreneurial. They're all like, they just, they're creative and they think about different things, and they also love love, and we love love. And so like, it's just a really great thing. Yeah.
I'm probably a little ADHD.
100%. Unite. Yes.
Yes.
It's so funny. Like, okay, I'm kind of a little bit like obsessed with like personality types, and a lot for like several years, I kind of studied it pretty in depth. And oh my gosh, there's a huge pattern with that. Like with people with ADHD, like I can't tell you how many planners, and surprisingly, right? Planners. I was like, oh, you're
So type A, but they are the creative ones. They have to have that like creativity and the type A. Yeah.
yeah, like planners, course photographers, videographers. Like I think there's like an entrepreneurial and artistic side of ADHD and being kind of neurodivergent in those areas. And so it's really cool to like, you're kind of with your people too,
I like that too.
It's so true. Like, so true. I also think that like this is the one industry where continually you are celebrating life. And you're celebrating, and life is too short to not celebrate things. And so that's why I will forever till I die be like, go big or go home for that. Whatever capacity you can, because like you're celebrating such a life moment, and it truly can sometimes be the one time that all of your people are together.
Mm-hmm.
And so that like where else,
I can tell you're fun to cry.
else does that? Like
Yeah.
what else holds that much weight?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You are a part of that type of day, and like content, not no shade, but like content for anything else just is like it's not as impactful. It's not at and so like when we say like there's less pressure, like yes, there's less pressure, but there's still that like reverence and respect for what's happening on that day. And of course, like every day holds its own unique things that happen, and like you're dealing with major relationships that are shifting. Lord, our wedding was such a whew. Anyway, like our what I love though is that our photographer knew our story and shot it in a way that you could literally see the transition of those relationships happening as the day went on. And that's the power of capturing weddings.
Yeah. And it's a unique position to be a photographer or a content creator or a videographer, because you're literally with them the entire day. And one of the things that we love to do is like whenever we have the chance, whenever it's appropriate, kind of like bringing them down, because, I don't know if you remember your wedding day or like how much photography experience that you had on that day. But I know that like when I was going through the day, it was hard for me to turn off vendor mode or like photographer mode. And like, I'm just like constantly thinking about other things and not necessarily being like present. And so like whenever we can like pull them down and give them that like perspective of like, hey, by the way, take a breath, look around, like this day is going to go like that. And that's like the number one thing that I hear from brides after weddings. Like when they're literally about to do their grand exit and I'm giving them their final instructions about how to do it. They're always just like, wow, that was such a blur, or like, wow, oh my gosh, that like went by so quickly. So like giving them the like throughout the day, being able to like give them that perspective and kind of like not control their experience, but like enhance their experience by our experience in the industry and what we've seen, being able to like kind of help that as well when it's appropriate, of course. Yeah, we love that part as well, and I love that.
You just touched on this a little bit with a piece of advice. What advice would you give to couples on their wedding day or for their wedding day?
Yeah. For their wedding day specifically.
Oh man, there's so many
There's
things.
so many things.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say was actually about like how to plan your wedding.
Or it could be any part of the planning.
Okay. Well, I'll say for the type A bride that, I mean, you just always been that way. You knew like what colors you're going to do. You knew that what your dress was going to look like. You knew like how the timeline and the people that you're going to have there and how things were going to go. I love people like you because you know what you want. But I would encourage the type A bride to be able to find the correct vendors, trust them to do their thing, and then on the day, turn it off. Turn it off. I know you can do it. Turn it off. Enjoy the day. Because guess what? Not everything is going to go exactly how you planned, and it's going to look different. But if you just put the right vendors in place and then trust them to do what they do, I think that would really help. Because I have seen a lot of brides kind of just like get caught up in the what's going on and what needs to happen next and who's doing this. It just I see them missing a lot of beautiful things throughout the day. So I would give that advice to the type A bride.
Yeah. Like hire a planner who gets you, I think is that, but kind of really, it's the foundation of that, because that's essentially you on the day.
Yeah. Same thing with like, planner. And then like, when it comes to the music, I find that if you hire a good DJ and you just say, like give them a couple of pointers of what you like in the consult, but like let them do their thing. They do this every weekend, right? So they're extremely good at reading the room and finding, like, they probably can tell what your people like to listen to more than you. So like sometimes, yeah.
See that on the dance floor all the time. Like a bride will say they like a certain genre and the dance floor just dies in the middle of that. And then the DJ's like, I'm going to mix it up. And then you think that disco was going to be like what kept everybody on the floor all night. So
yeah,
it's surprising. And I've always like had friends that were, you're fine. I've always had like friends that are DJs, and I've always enjoyed that part of the wedding. And so that's the number one thing that I hear from them. And you would be so surprised, like the types of songs that gets people on the floor. And that is an art in and of itself, an underappreciated thing for sure. For the people that think that you could just, pull out your iPhone and play songs, from Spotify, something like that.
I don't ever want to play DJ. I don't want to be the one in charge.
It really is art. So, but yeah, I kind of took over there.
No, that's really amazing.
What's your advice? Yeah.
So my advice comes from how we planned our wedding. What's I think really funny is like going into planning our wedding, I think we were like, we've got this. We know what we're doing. And then halfway through, I was like, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought. And so when we started experiencing that feeling, we sat down and we basically gave each of us like one like top priority. And so for me, the thing that was most important to me was sentimentality. And then the thing that was most important to him was our guest experience. And we made all of our decisions filtered through those two things. If it hit both of those things, great. If it hit one of those things, we'd talk through it and find out like how important it was to us. And if it didn't really go for either of those things, if it didn't fall into either one of those tracks, then we didn't do it. And because I knew his perspective on that what was most important to him was the guest experience, whenever I would bring something up, it made it so much easier to understand where he was coming from, and hopefully vice versa. But that just like made it so much easier. Like, because here's the other thing that people experience when they're planning a wedding. You're watching social media and you are pressured to do all the things
everybody else is done.
You're pressured to have an elephant walk you down the aisle because somebody else did it. And although I do want to see that one day, but we'll shoot it.
Same thing like when you're going through like a bridal.
Like when you're going through a bridal show, like there's so many things that are out there that are incredible things that you can do for your wedding. But is it you? Is it the two of you? Is it your people? And so I feel like for our wedding, it wasn't the most like magazine worthy wedding. We had a freaking blast and our people had a blast, and it was super sentimental in all the ways that I felt like it should be. And I feel like our guest experience was amazing, but like everything was so beautiful and so us. And that's the most important thing, is that at the end of the day, people should walk away from your wedding and be like, that was so them. So them. That's what it's about. It's about you.
And not worrying about all the little things, not worrying about who you're upsetting, who's disappointed, as long as you're honoring what each person in the couple.
Yes.
That's the most important part, having that. And you don't have to worry about the rest.
Absolutely.
And that's another unique thing that we learned from working in the bridal industry as well. We found that a lot of times when the bride would find a dress that she absolutely loved, and she's looking at herself in the mirror, and she's just, you can tell she's completely in love with this dress. She loves it. Like, that one question lingering in the back of her mind is like, is this too much? And she's always thinking about, like, what are other people going to think about like this? And I think that's just the wrong way to think about it. It's just like, is this me? Does this communicate who I am? And when you're going through planning your wedding day, I think that she should be asking that question, like, does this communicate who I am, rather than what's grandma, what's auntie, what's, so-and-so going to think about what I'm doing.
Yeah. Because that's what makes it timeless. It only has to be timeless to you.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be timeless to anybody else.
Yeah. I like that. It only has to be timeless to you.
Like, if you
That's a
do,
really good
yeah, like if you do things that are you, then when you look back 20 years down the road, like, will like fashion change? 100%.
Mhm.
Will like photography styles change? 1000%. It's you. Like,
Yeah. It honors who you are as individuals, and your wedding should honor who you are as individuals and who you are as a couple.
absolutely. Like, I will never want a pastel wedding, ever. Whether dark and moody is in style or not, like, that will forever be our day, because we did things that were us. Like,
Yeah.
we are dramatic people. If you could imagine that. And we really just wanted something that was bold and dramatic and fun. And so that's what we.
Yeah.
I
And
love
that also goes into something that we like. The reason why we love what we do is because it is, in a way, like a multi-generational thing that you're doing, right? Like, I remember looking at my parents' wedding photos, and it gave me like a little window into like their friends at that time, or the style at that time, or like what was important to them at the time. So if you're planning your wedding based on what everybody else thinks, then like looking back on the photos, it's not even going to be really truly like a reflection of who you are. And I know, Kayla, that you've probably thought about that as well. Like, the photos that you're making are going to be like appreciated for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It's something really important to me. My great grandmother, actually, she would pull out her albums whenever I would, the ones with the cellophane. It
Yeah.
in there. But we would go through them all the time when I was a kid, even into my adulthood. She lived to be 100. So I got to look through her photos and hear from her and see her experiences all through those photos. I
Yeah,
think it's super special to be that we can provide that to people as well.
absolutely. And like, for photographers, videographers, content creators, like, one thing that you don't always expect is, like, for me personally, my mother passed away unexpectedly after the wedding. And it's a beautiful thing now when I look back, is because the time that we spent like practicing our dance, and the photos that I got during the wedding were pretty much like freezing in time the relationship that we had, and the last memories of her, really. And so, like, I'm not trying to bring this like conversation down or anything. I'm saying that those, like, sometimes you find like unexpected things like that with what you're doing, like capturing those really happy moments with the family, and you're going to cherish those memories. And so that's something that we always thinking in mind as well. We're not just capturing the couple or the venue or anything like that. We're also capturing the people that they're the closest to, and the ones that matter to them as well.
Mhm.
And with that, you guys. Before we wrap things up, is there a way people can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. The best place to find us is on Instagram. So our handle is Bella Luna BTS, which stands for behind the scenes. And then we will be getting our website linked to that Instagram here shortly. But that's the best place to find us. You get to see all the fun content from all the things we've had the opportunity to shoot. And you can send us a private message there, and we'd love to connect with you.
I will say you are very responsive, because I had internet troubles this morning and you got right back to me.
We try.
And anything else you would like to share before we close out?
Well, Kayla, thank you so much for having us on your podcast. This is going to be an amazing course for couples, and we just can't wait to see who else you're going to have. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
and we're definitely going to be watching the podcast, because we know that, like, whenever we see you at an event or any kind of event, just the light that you bring, not just like your smile, like your entire energy that you bring, just kind of brings up the entire place. And I can't wait to other people get to experience that with you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I hope we can be at the dance floor together soon.
I hope so too. We're gonna talk about a wedding coming up in March. I want you guys to be there.
Sounds good.
We'll work it out so we can.
Sounds perfect.
I just want to thank everybody for listening to First Look Podcast and learning a little bit more about Bella Luna BTS. I hope you all have a magical day.